everyone, welcome back to day 13 of our 30-day bread making challenge. Today I have some pumpkin scones for you. So I wanted to use up the rest of the pumpkin I had from my pumpkin bread. I'm starting with about 4 cups of flour, and to that I'm going to add the brown sugar, and this is just 2/3 of a cup. Again, this is kind of like a double recipe because I want to have enough sort of for leftovers for another day for breakfast for my kids. So I'm just gonna give that a little stir along with the rising agent. Today, no yeast again. What I'm going to do is add the baking soda, which is 1 teaspoon, and baking powder, which is 2 teaspoons. So that, as well as I put some salt too. Kind of about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, so like a large pinch today of the salt. And then I'm going to add the spices, and today what I'm adding is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and some nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and that is it. You could also choose to add cloves and maybe a little bit more ginger, maybe some nutmeg. But that's it for me. So for the liquid ingredients, I'm starting off with about 90 mils of milk, which is just a little bit more than 1/3 of a cup, 2 eggs, along with the pumpkin, which I'll add here in just a second, and actually 4 teaspoons of vanilla. I find it's really important to use good vanilla and not sort of an imitation vanilla. I get my vanilla from Costco, and I find here in Calgary this is the best one for the cheapest price. So it's a pretty good deal and it lasts quite a while, but it's not a good idea to skimp out and use an artificial type of vanilla. It doesn't usually turn out too well. Okay, and now I'm just going to add in my pumpkin. Approximately for the pumpkin is going to be about 1 cup, and I probably have 1 1/4 cups here, so hopefully that doesn't throw off my recipe too much because I didn't want to waste it. So I'm just going to give this a stir, and then really the last ingredient is just butter, and I'm going to actually add that into my dry ingredients and make it into a crumbly mixture. And then I will add the 2 bowls together. Okay, so I'm sure there's a fancy way to do this, but I just work the butter in with actually a large fork. I use this fork for a lot of dough making. I find the dough doesn't stick, and it just, I don't know, it works really well for me. You can also use your hands to incorporate the butter. Either one is fine, but I'm just going to keep working this in and making it into a crumbly mixture. Okay, I'll take a few minutes and incorporate this, and then we'll add the 2 bowls together. Okay, so I have my butter pretty fully incorporated into the flour and dry ingredient mixture. I'm going to now combine my 2 bowls, slowly incorporating the liquid ingredients into the dry. Trying to use what I have and not waste anything these days. So one of my main reasons for making all these bread recipes is because a lot of these are things that I make every day. And the other evening when we were eating our supper, my middle daughter asked, "How do you make this cornbread, Mom?" And I thought, well, someday you'll be able to watch the video and I'll be able to show you. She actually makes a lot of things right now with me, so she's very interested in baking. So I thought, you know what, this is a great thing to record these videos to show my kids how we make all these recipes, and someday they'll be able to have them and make these things for their children. My mom's been combining recipes from our family for for many years, and she's made 3 recipe books, and now she's making one more, combining all the recipe books into one. So it's very nice to have that to rely on and have it all documented, because some of these recipes are very old and they were from her family on her farm, and without those recordings they might never get made again. Alright, so I'm going to mix all of this together and then I'm going to roll it out. I actually added a little less than 4 cups of flour so that I could slowly incorporate the last little bit here. Okay, I'm going to roll this out with a rolling pin, and probably a little more than an inch thick. I'm going to try to get it into kind of a rectangular shape. The individual pieces. Alright, so it's not a perfect rectangle right now, so I'm going to see if I can chop it a little bit to make it a bit better. And I'll chop this side off a little. We'll do those again. So now what I'm going to do is try to form it into a couple rectangles here. And then I'll cut each of my rectangles in half. And that will be my scones. So we'll do these guys here. Same over here. And then I'll cut each of these in half and make 2 triangles. Basically like this. I'll show you what they look like on the pan. Okay, so I have my triangles on my sheet pan, and I'm going to bake these at 400 degrees for, I'd say, 14 to 15 minutes. They're pretty thick. So this wraps up day number 13 with pumpkin scones. Hope you enjoyed that. I will be icing these with a bit of the cream cheese frosting that I have left over. And I will have to wait a little bit to do that because they are very hot out of the oven. And this is what they look like. They turned out pretty well, a little brown on the top. Hope you enjoyed this recipe and join us tomorrow for day 14.